Bienvenue à la 9e Assemblée mondiale de CIVICUS, l'Alliance mondiale pour la participation citoyenne.
What we've had is, the idea of a youth assembly in 2007 became a reality. There we did a lot of work, and 2008 came along and we did a lot of work, and then CIVICUS adopted having some kind of youth forum as part of the notion of a World Assembly. There always had to be some kind of youth thing. And then
I think those are two critical questions, and even if we ask ourselves what is the definition of youth, it means very different things in different parts of the world. So the UN would have us believe youth is 15 to 24, but in South Africa you're young until you're 35 according to our policies. And so I think what we have to start asking and unpacking is what is the quality or the content behind the age definitions that we use. And a lot of it has to do with a relative powerlessness in society in terms of actual access to decision making. A lot of it is about being in spaces of transition. So we often understand young people as being moving from high school into employment or into further studies, looking for work, trying to find relationships even, and moving out of the dependence on family into creating their own families and becoming more independent. And I think once we start breaking away from definitions by age and towards understanding the concepts behind it, we can get at something more about what the importance of youth participation is, which is, I mean, half the world's population is under 25, but that also means half the world's population is in these relatively powerless situations, in these moments of transition, and there's a particular quality of understanding about their world that people experiencing that can bring. And I think what's crucial for youth participation is a battle that women fought for in the women's movement, which was we have experiences that are unique to our particular identity, and that voice needs to be heard.
there's a bunch of us who've kind of been at these youth assemblies for a while.
I mean, I think that we've got to make youth participation mainstream. And I think part of what's happened thus far is the whole movement towards youth participation has been very successful in getting people to invest in young people. And we've seen a lot of young people are taking action on the ground in their local communities. And so what we've got to try and find in this moment of the International Year of Youth and moving forward is how to connect what's become a reality in terms of investing in young people and recognizing that they exist to the decision-making table. As a young generation, we're saying more and more, we can see the effects of the lack of decision-making and the lack of really integrity and ethical leadership in the world hitting us hard and hitting us, and it's too late in 10 years' time to then open the door to us. We've got to be able to input now because these are critical issues that are going to affect us and continue to affect us today. On the one hand, we have to destabilize adult power, which means get them to question why they have so much and why they should be taking the decision. And on the other hand, give young people the confidence and the capability to take a stand and make decisions. And if we only do one of those, then it's tokenistic. Because if we just empower young people, but adults still say, actually, we're not listening, if we can shift that notion to young people matter, young people's actions matter, what they think matters, and we're willing to include them in a way that's really meaningful. I think that's the most important thing we can do.
You can still be passionate and youthful and energized at different ages and different stages of your life, right? But what we thought the distinction between young and adults is more a distinction of power distribution, because we do believe that in the world where we live now, the more you have time spent in this life, the more you have credibility in the society, and the more you actually have the right to get more power. And that's the way it is now. So what we think being young means, in that sense, and trying to be as objective as possible as well, is that by being young means that you have less power in this world, because it's, after all, a world ruled by adults, people who have more experience, let's say, but we think it's more time like living in this world, because you can still have more experience than adults, even if you're young. So it's not something that you measure by the time you spend in life, something that you measure by the enrichment of situations that you had in your life. So it's more about having power and not having power. We're here to change the way we are making change. In the last minute I spent speaking, some 20 children died around the world from poverty, easily preventable diseases, illnesses, and related issues. Each year, 300,000 people die of climate change. We can choose to get a calculator working and do the counting by the end of my speech. Or we can get our minds and hands working together, youth and adults, and try to reduce these numbers. I'm asking us, how can we, all of us, move beyond here? Thank you very much.